The Hammond Common Council for March 27th is now in session. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation. Dear God, thank you for the many blessings we enjoy. Please protect our children from harm as they enjoy their spring break. We pray for the speedy recovery of our council secretary, Debbie Jimenez. Please restore her body to health and strength. We ask that you guide us to kindness, understanding, and respect for the greater good of our fine city. In your holy name, amen. Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Here.
Spitali.
Here.
Kalwinski.
Here.
Torres.
Here.
Higgs. Emerson.
Here.
Warple.
Here.
Rakels.
Here.
Vanez.
Here. Let the record reflect 8 present, 1 absent. Moving on to reading of the minutes.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Spitali.
a motion to accept the minutes from March 13, 2017.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Emerson, to accept the minutes of March 13th, 2017. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to approval of claims.
Madam Chair Lady,
Yes, Councilman Markovich.
move for approval of claims March 8, 2017 through March 22, 2017 for council meeting March 27, 2017. Beginning with claims dated 3/13/17 and ending with claims dated 3/22/17, claim number 1794 through claim number 2110 for a total of $4,158,017.22. I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Warple, for approval of claims from March 8th through March 22nd. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Vanez.
Yes. Claims passed, 8 in favor, 1 absent. Moving on to public hearings. Clerk Golick.
Item A, ordinance number 17-06, sponsored by Councilman Spitali, an ordinance to appropriate monies into the 2017 gaming fund.
Public hearings is now open on ordinance number 1706. Anyone wishing to speak on ordinance number 1706, please approach the podium. Anyone wishing to speak on ordinance number 1706? Anyone wishing to speak on 1706, please approach the podium. Public hearings is now closed. Moving on to communications. We miss Councilman Higgs tonight, don't we?
Madam Chair Lady,
Yes, Councilman Mark.
make a motion that all communications be placed on file.
What communications?
If there were any sent.
Okay.
You know what? I'll second that.
All righty, motion by Councilman Markovich to place all communication on file, second by Councilman Warple. Any discussion?
In honor of Councilman Higgs.
Any discussion? Any discussion? I don't think it's necessary for a roll call vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to committee reports.
Madam Chairwoman,
Yes, Councilman Warple.
Finance will be reporting out 1706.
And as I usually do, I will read the upcoming Community and Crime Watch meetings. Harrison Park, which was recently reestablished, will meet on Tuesday, April 4th, 6:30 p.m. at the VFW on Hammond Avenue. Edison Community Watch will meet Wednesday, April 5th, at Edison School. That is beginning at 6:30 p.m. Let me see. Formerly Indy Illy Crime Watch, now the South Homan Neighborhood Watch, will meet Thursday, April 6th, 6:30 p.m. at the First Methodist Church on Homan Avenue. Irving Community Watch will meet Friday, April 7th, 9:15 a.m. at Irving School. Pulaski Park Neighborhood Association will meet Tuesday, March 28th, at the American Legion on Goslin. That is beginning at 6:30 p.m. Anyone interested in finding out what's going on in your neighborhood and learning preventative measures to prevent you from becoming a victim of a crime, I strongly urge each and every one of you to attend one of these meetings, because community is not just about me, it's about us. Moving on to ordinance, third and final reading.
Ordinance number 17-06, sponsored by Councilman Spitali, an ordinance to appropriate monies into the 2017 gaming fund.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Spitali.
move for final passage of 1706.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Emerson for final passage of 1706. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Spitali.
these unspent monies remain from 2016, transferred over to 2017.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 1706 passes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
President Vines, that concludes the ordinances for final passage.
Thank you, Clerk Golick. Moving on to introduction of ordinances.
Item A, ordinance 17-08, sponsored by Councilman Spitali. An ordinance to appropriate funds in the Hotel Motel Innkeepers Tax Fund for economic development purposes.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Spitali.
move through first and second reading, refer to Finance Committee with a public hearing set for April 10th, 2017 at 5 o'clock.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Emerson for first and second reading of 1708 with the public hearing on April 10th. Also, this ordinance was referred to the Finance Committee and will meet at 5 p.m. on April 10th. Any discussion?
Madam Chair Lady,
Councilman Markovich.
did he say the public hearing was going to be at 5 o'clock?
No, the Finance Committee,
Okay, but the public hearing will be the same night, but that'll be at 6 o'clock then.
that is
Okay.
correct. Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? First and second is granted.
Item B, ordinance 17-09, sponsored by Councilman Warple. An ordinance amending ordinance numbers 4793, 7516, 8553, 8576, also known as Section 99.26 of the Hammond Municipal Code pertaining to park permits for events.
Madam Chairwoman,
Yes, Councilman Warfel.
I move this goes into council as a whole on April 10th. First and second reading, first of all. Again, I did it. He wasn't here to tell me. again, so.
Okay.
First and second reading on April 10th, council as a whole at 5:15.
All righty, do I have a second? Second. Motion by Councilman Warfel, second by Councilman Spitali for first and second reading of 1709 with a, referring to council as a whole at 5:15 on April 10th. Any discussion?
Madam Chairwoman,
Yes, Councilman Warfel.
what this ordinance basically is as it stands right now, in order to get a permit to serve alcohol in a city park, that person would have to come before the council and basically make their case to the council, and we would decide whether or not we were willing to issue that permit. And what this ordinance does is basically hands that decision back to the park board. And by that I mean is, as an example, like the Lakers semi-pro baseball team that plays in Riverside Park. When I was on the park board, when they approached us, they had asked us for future consideration on whether or not we would allow, alcohol to be served at their games. And this basically allows the park board to go ahead and grant that permission or whatever, and to set conditions, more or less, for if they were gonna do it, whatever. It doesn't take any power away from us. We still have, as a council, we still have the right to say yeah or no on these things, but this is an ordinance that allows the park board to be part of the decision-making process on it.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Madam Chair Lady,
Councilman Markovich.
so what you're saying is they got to go to the park board first for approval and then come before the city council? Councilman Warple?
Direct that to the chair.
So what we're saying is it's got to go before the park board first and then before the city council after that, after approval from the park board? Is that what this is saying?
Councilman Warfel?
Madam Chairwoman, yes, that's what, no, not really. This is giving the option of, they can still come before us if they want to. Basically, if somebody came before me and said, I want to use this, want the alcohol permit at such and such a park, my first question would be have you went in front of the park board? I think that they're in a better position as a board to set conditions, more or less, Yeah, you can, but, or how, if they want to make any sort of conditions. I mean, it basically gives the park board that decision, just like it would give the Port Authority the decision to, when the festival or whatever it is comes, the Port Authority basically has, the right to set the conditions for the alcohol sales. And this basically is just giving the park board the same options that the Port Authority has. Does that answer your question? Can you ask the councilman if that answers his question?
Councilman Markovich?
Yes and no. The thing I'm concerned about, right now, if somebody wants a permit, they got to come before the council, is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, so we are the ones that are in charge of everything, the responsibility for the city. Now, if we're going to hand that over to a 5-member board who are not elected or just appointed and giving them all that responsibility, we're being left out of the thing, because the ultimate concern is we're the ones setting this and the liability for allowing alcohol in the park. The thing that I'm afraid of is somebody may go before the park board and get turned down, and then they're going to come here and ask for permission, or they're going to be granted, and then somebody's going to complain and come before the council and says, well, park board gave it to them, I applied, but they never let me have it. I just don't want, we're taking away the responsibility and power of this council, because we're the ones that, and ultimately, that's, hate to use the word being sued or whatever, but, it's opening up a whole new can of worms, and why we're changing that now at this, point of the game, that's beyond me. And I don't know why this is even happening. You know it and I know it. If somebody wants to have a picnic out at the parks, they're gonna have liquor out there, and if the cops come, they're gonna say, hey, be discreet, you can't do this, you can't do that. You know it and I know it, and it's the same thing when I played softball in the parks and everything else. After the game, guys have a cooler out there, and they're gonna be drinking pop and beer and whatever, and all of that. I don't even know why this is coming up and why we're even changing it, to be honest with you. But to take the responsibility from the council, I'm not too crazy about that. Just all we're doing, and like I said, and just like I'm repeating it, you're giving that responsibility to 5 people who are appointed, and if something goes wrong, there's no retaliation. I don't want to say retaliation, but there's no way that they can come back at them in that respect. Why did you give it to him? Oh, that was my buddy. Well, that's why I gave it to him. But, well, so-and-so applied. Well, I didn't give it to him because he's not my buddy. I mean, I don't know what goes on at those meetings or anything. That's the only thing that I'm afraid of.
Madam Chairwoman,
Yes, Councilman Warple.
I actually appreciate the honest dialogue, and that's why this will go in front of a committee, and we can hash the details out there. My concern, as far as us as a council, I was on the park board, and I don't recall anybody ever coming and saying, hey, I'm having a family picnic and I want to have alcohol. The way I think it works is you get away with it if you get away with it. At least that's how we did it when I was drinking. And I think that the reason the good points of letting the park board be part of the decision-making process is, I think that it would be more along the lines of allowing them to set the conditions. If that makes, I don't know if I'm explaining, but I think it's a good discussion for when we have the hearing on it, and I hope we all are there and have an honest and sensible discussion about it, because you do raise some good points.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any comments on this ordinance?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
just a thought, a lot goes on at the Board of Works, and everything that goes on there doesn't always have to be approved by the council. There's new citizens that are buying homes. I've been to those and met them, and that doesn't have to be approved. Every bit of business that takes place at the Board of Works does not have to be approved by us. I'm just saying, we would never, we have a lot of paperwork now, but if we had to approve every single thing that happens in the city, there wouldn't be enough hours in the day.
Well, it sounds like we're going to have a lively committee meeting.
Madam Chairwoman, I just wanted
Yes.
to say, this by no means, it's my understanding that it's kind of a unique situation that you have a semi-pro baseball team that is now using a public park. And as part of making it profitable for them to play there, they're saying this is in their plan. And I'm willing, again, I'm willing to have an open discussion about it and hear all sides on it, but I don't know that all of us could sit here and say, well, in this instance, this happened, in that instance, that happened, and I think the park board can make the recommendation and grant the permit. It's my understanding that there's going to be no permits. It's not going to be like anybody can come without a liquor license and say, hey, I want to have beer in the park this day. I don't think that's the way it works now.
Okay, any other discussion from anyone who is not engaged just yet? All those in favor of first and second reading of 1709, referring to council as a whole with a committee meeting on April 10th at 5:15?
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? First and second is granted.
President Vines, that concludes the ordinances on the introduction.
Thank you, Clerk Golick. Moving on to resolutions.
Item A, Resolution 17R-12. The petitioner is the Department of Planning and Development, the Mayor's Office of Economic Development, and the sponsor is Councilman David Warple. Resolution 17R, a declaratory resolution of the Hammond City Council designating that a certain area of the city of Hammond, Indiana, be established as the Corrales Economic Revitalization Area, to which deductions from assessed value may be requested by an applicant to the Common Council of the City of Hammond pursuant to Indiana Code 6-1.1-12.1.
Madam Chairwoman,
Yes, Councilman Warple.
I move for final passage and adoption of the resolution 17R12. I'm trying not to put my glasses on. Did I get it right?
That's okay, it doesn't age you. Motion by Councilman Warple, do I have a second? Second. Second by Councilman Rakos for final passage of 17R-12. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 17R-12 passes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
President Vines, that concludes the reading of the resolutions.
Thank you, Clerk Golick. New and unfinished business. Any new and unfinished business?
Madam Chairwoman,
Yes, Councilman Warple.
real quick, I've seen on social media and heard on the radio station that I don't listen to all that much, that there's been some concern about the entrance and exit to the bridge on Kennedy Avenue and the shape that it's in. And that is a project that is the county commissioner's project, and it is moving forward. I got a letter from Mr. Button the other day, and that is like basically what I've been told is as soon as the asphalt plants are up and running, that would be taken care of. Is that not correct?
Yes, the county has it out for bid right now.
Okay. But I just wanted to let everybody know that we are aware of that project. It is a county commissioner's issue, and our commissioner has worked with Dean or Mr. Button, and we're going to have it resolved real fast.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other new and unfinished business? Any other new and unfinished business? Any other new and unfinished business? New and unfinished business is now closed. Public expression. The first speaker of the evening is Lori Zolno. Incidentally, Lori, you will have 3 minutes.
Good evening, members of the council. Lori Zolno, 71. Reoccurring basis. I assume they'll have X number of home games. I have friends that live in Riverside. Somebody bothers, the police say to them, hey, calm it down, put it away. But selling alcohol is a whole different story.
Lori? George Stoya? Come on, George.
That's what I want to see. Get deep. I like it when you do that. What do you say? I was
All
talking.
righty. Public expression is now closed. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Warfel. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Have a good evening.